In life, sometimes the way seems perfectly clear. We know God's direction. At other times, we walk solely by faith, not knowing the end result, but trusting God for it. Isn't that what the Christian life is all about anyway? In the Native American culture, part of becoming an adult is going on a journey of discovery alone. We, as Christians, will be used by God if we follow in faith, walking in His steps.
It was in this valley that in the fall of 1946 a school was begun to educate young Native American children and to reach them with the gospel of Jesus Christ.
So in the beginning, the vision was there, and to reach the Native American youth. I think, in the words of the founder, I'm not sure if these are his words, but it was stated that if the Christian church is going to reach the Native American people, it'll have to be through their youth. And so it was directed in that direction that they will minister to the young, and whatever if there was any mistakes or wrong steps that were taken in those early days, I think the vision was a good vision.
Every night they had a devotional time for the girls in the girls' dorm before we headed off to bed. And I don't remember a thing that was told us, but you know, when I went back, every night the girls' dorm matron would come room to room, and she would hug us and tell us she loved us, and she kissed us, and she would tuck us into bed. And she came to my room to do this, and it really touched my heart. No one ever did that for me, and when she did that, it just seemed like it was the Lord that hugged me and kissed me and told me He loved me. That's the most important thing I remember about Brainerd Indian School, is that they showed me God's love.
In 1989, the Brainerd Indian School was forced to close because of a problem with asbestos. The educational focus was changed to the various chapels, and Christian academies were created to fill the gap. What would become of the original Brainerd campus? It seemed to be the heart of Wesleyan Indian missions. Many Vacation with a Purpose teams and volunteers, in addition to years of service given by dedicated staff members, was a tremendous investment. Was God through with Brainerd? Attempts were made to sell the campus.
So, at the time, I felt that our hands were tied, that we could not do anything, and if it was to be closed, then I've encouraged the people to pray and to believe your prayers.
Heartache. My heart hurt it because I've heard from parents all over that, they wanted their children, when they finished 7th grade, on the reservation, their thoughts were to send their child to Brainerd to continue education.
We'd been instructed by the board of directors to sell the Brainerd property, but time after time the contracts fell through. And most recently in April, we thought we had it sold, but the contract fell through. I was really looking for direction from the Lord and went to the park to spend time with Him and seeking His direction, trying to follow His leading, follow His steps. As I began praying, asking God for direction, very clearly He directed me to Isaiah 57, and the words almost jumped off the page. It says, "But the man who makes me his refuge will inherit the land and possess my holy mountain." And when I read those words, I thought of the crosses above the hill. And it will be said, build up, prepare the road, remove the obstacles out of the way of my people. And then further into Isaiah 58, it says, "The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. Your people will rebuild the ancient ruins and will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets and dwellings." It was exciting to think that God could use us to reopen this property, but how? How would it happen? What would it cost? And I weighed that heavily. He seemed to say to me, the question is not, do I want to keep the property? The question is, are you willing to pay the price? And I thought of the price. I thought of the asbestos issue. I thought of the staffing issues. I thought of the finances it would take to restore the buildings. And I weighed it very heavily, and I thought, yes, Lord, I'm willing to pay the price. And that night we went to a campground meeting, and the message was, are you willing to pay the price? Yes, Lord, I'm willing to pay the price. I know that this property is not for sale.
This last time we were down at Pine Ridge working, two of us went down from up here from our company, and we had to hire 7 or 8 from down there. And it was like they didn't know how to work. They wanted to work, they want the money, but they don't have the skills. I think a vocational school would help a lot. I know when I was young, I wish there was something like this for me. I probably wouldn't be in roofing right now. I'd probably be doing something else.
Here on the old Brainerd property, that's now renamed First Nations Institute, God has burdened me to teach vocational training in mechanics and machining practices. It's a challenge for me, but I never knew the need for marketable skills that is needed so much for the Lakota Indian. And it's burdened me, and through the Lord guiding me and directing me and putting this together, I'm going to be initiating a vocational training school, and I look forward to starting this curriculum and developing it and meeting new faces and this challenge that the Lord has put upon us. I look forward for the future and how God is putting this together.
God's leading seemed to be very clear, with the issue of asbestos no longer a problem, and the burden of Bill Gomes to reach people with the gospel through a VOTEC training. The next step was to present the idea to the board of directors. The board not only liked the idea, but some even offered to help raise funds to begin restoration of the property. In keeping with the next steps of honoring the native culture, District Superintendent Jerry Yellowhawk renamed the property First Nations Institute. God has also begun to draw others to join the Gomes in the ministry.
Hi, welcome to Tool Time. I have been working with Native American ministries for about the past year, and I have been working in the carpentry field, and that is what I do for a living. And as far as starting the vocational training, I think it is very important that we equip our Native American people not only to be prepared for heaven, but also to live down here on earth.
I was shown how God was working in other people's lives through my foster care and from just going to church. And it's really a blessing because God showed me, that He wants me to do this for Native American men and for everyone out there, really. He wants us to come together and work together, no matter, what culture, what color, no matter what you're doing. He wants us all because we're His children.
Let me challenge you to join us in walking in His steps. We need volunteers to help in renovating the property. We need help in working in the school. We have need for workers and volunteers and supporters for the VOTEC program to work within the Native culture. Wesleyan Native American Ministries is in need of supporters, of workers, to work within the culture and help us with additional love programs, building homes for Native families who desperately need them. Join with us in these exciting days ahead as we begin a pastoral training program for Native men and women who will be going back to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to their own people within the cultural context of their own understanding.
There is much to do. We've only just begun. In serving Christ, we must walk in His steps. As Jesus washed His disciples' feet, we must humble ourselves and take on the form of a servant. As we honor the positives of Native culture, as we build relationships with the people, as we spend time with them, and by our love and respect for them gain the opportunity to be heard, we will show the love of Jesus Christ, walking in His steps.
I am just thrilled. I'm happy to report to you today that with this new venture, new steps, and with the VOTEC training, and eventually the Bible school will restart again. And with that training, in the VOTEC area, and I'm just so glad and just so thrilled that the Lord is still with us and He's leading us. So I praise the Lord for that.